Hello students, you're welcome to my class. Last week we treated the triumphant entry of Jesus into Jerusalem. Today we're going to be looking at the arrest and the trial of Jesus. After Jesus was done with the Last Supper, he took his disciples to the garden called Gethsemane. When he got to the garden, he separated himself from the disciples and went further to pray. He prayed to God. The Bible declared that in the course of this prayer, he was sweating, and the sweat was like drops of blood. After praying for 1 hour, he went to meet his disciples, Peter, James, and John, and they were sleeping. And he asked the question, "Can you not tarry with me for 1 hour? The flesh is weak, but the spirit is willing." He went back to pray. He prayed that God should take the cup from him, but it was not his will that the will of God should be done. And so he went back to the disciples thrice. And the third time, he looked up and said, "Now the hour has come. The Son of Man has been betrayed into the hands of sinful men." And immediately, his disciples came with soldiers that had clubs and sword with them. And Judas, who is the disciple that brought this soldier, went straight to meet Jesus and kissed him. And Jesus said, "Judas, thou betrayest thy master with a kiss." And immediately was arrested and taken to Caiaphas, who was the high priest. But in the course of this arrest, the servant of the high priest, whose name was Marcus, his ear was cut off by Peter. But Jesus admonished Peter by saying that he that killed by the sword will also perish by the sword. And so he healed Marcus' ear, and afterward he was taken to the high priest for trial. In the course of the trial, false witnesses were brought against him. He didn't answer to any of them. But the high priest now asked. He stood up. He asked him, "Are you the Son of God?" And he answered that he was. Because of this, the high priest tore his dress. And they all started shouting, "He has blasphemed, he has blasphemed, he has blasphemed." What do they need to do? Crucify him, crucify him. But they could not do this because it was not in their authority to kill Jesus or to crucify Jesus. And so the matter was taken over to Pontius Pilate, who was the governor as at that time. During the interrogation between Jesus and Pilate, Pilate asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" He did not answer. Though Pilate tried to free him, but he could not because of the pressure of the Jewish leaders. Martha, the wife of Pilate, have sent message to Pilate that he should not have anything to do with the death of Jesus Christ. And so, because he has had terrible nightmare because of Jesus, Pilate was now looking for how to free Jesus. As the custom was, during the feast of the Passover, he was supposed to release a prisoner. And so he brought out Jesus and Barabbas. And he asked the people, who do they want? The people affirmed that and shouted that they want Barabbas to be released at the expense of Jesus. And so Pontius Pilate watched his hand from the case, telling the people that he's free from the blood of this man. And people answered that the blood should be upon them and their children. That was the end of Pilate's discussion. But before Pilate could pass out this judgment, he sent Jesus to Herod Antipas, because Jesus was a Galilean. He was under Herod's jurisdiction. After Herod and his soldiers and the followers had mocked Jesus, because before now, Herod had wanted to see Jesus because of his miracle. He has heard so much about Jesus' miracle. And so after they have mocked Jesus, they sent Jesus back to Pontius Pilate. And this action reconciled the relationship between Herod Antipas and Pontius Pilate. They became friends again. Then Pilate, in his judgment, handed over Jesus to the soldiers. Jesus was taken to the praetorium, where he was whipped, and a crown of thorns was placed on his head. And they mocked him after beating him, telling him to prophesy who has slapped him. And so Jesus was ready to be crucified.